Okay, yeah, I'm back. Something very simple, stupid but simple. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, I found the matte concrete up top, matte concrete on the left. So what we got to do is, as you can see, I deleted the row that we had, so it's all default. Everything's default now. Okay, actually, just to show it, open XML material effects. Okay, everything's back to default. Okay, so what we have to do if using this program, apparently you add the column first, then you add the row. So everything's all default. So let's go ahead and find matte concrete on top. There you go, matte concrete. So again, right-click it, insert. Under matte concrete, right-click, insert. Now we have it. We have 16 and 16. Okay. Obviously, make sure that we select our matte concrete breakable and use that as the appropriate one. So Control V, matte concrete breakable. Now for the one that's going on top, right here, matte concrete breakable. There we go. So matte concrete breakable, matte concrete breakable. So scroll down until we get to the bullets. So when a bullet, hits our matte concrete breakable, so when a bullet hits our matte concrete breakable, what effect or what event is going to happen? We're going to take this here, bullet impacts, hit matte concrete, copy, and go here. Okay? Hit matte concrete, just temporarily. Okay? I'm going to go to File, Save. Since that effect doesn't, well, it does now, but anyways, let's go to the FX libs, bullet impacts. As you can see, it was bullet impacts, colon, then the effect. You had collisions, colon, then the effect. So open up bullet impacts. Let's go ahead and create the effect for the bullet. We have effect name, as you can see, the start and then the end. So let's go ahead and copy everything from the start into the end of hit matte concrete, copy. And let's just paste it in between here. So now we're just making concrete, so we're going to keep all the default values. We're not going to go over this. Yeah, we're not going to go over this. Maybe I will. So here we have the name, sound. So on our effect we have a sound, okay? And this is the name. So this right here is the sound that's going to be played when the bullet hits our hit matte concrete breakable. So when a bullet hits our blah blah blah, it's going to play this sound effect here. Then we have random effects, which are when it hits, it selects randomly one of these. So we have a particle, and this will show the particle that is spawned randomly when it's hit. It'll randomly select between the bullet hit concrete A, bullet hit concrete B, bullet hit concrete C particle effect. And these are just adjusting the scales of the particle effect. Okay, so we'll spawn one of these particle effects when it's hit randomly. Now we have another random effect. Random effect here, we have decals. This controls what decals are placed on the object when it's hit. The file name of the decals, textures decals concrete.dds, and then the material that this decals are going to use. Materials, decals, concrete plane. Now we have another decal, and these are chosen randomly, again, because they're random effects, so it chooses between either this one or this one for the decals. And these are the scales, okay, minimum scale, max scale, obviously, of the thing here, so it chooses randomly. We have file name, textures, decals, concrete.dds. Material is materials, decals, rock, sandy. We have another random effect in here. Decal and another decal. Again, textures, decals, concrete or DDS, materials, decal, concrete, concrete 3. So it selects between 4 different materials to place for decals. And flow graph, didn't know about the flow graph thing here, but I can't explain it because I don't know about it. You can play around with this, I guess, if you want. But there we go. That describes what happens when something hits another object. So when the bullet hits the other object, we told it to play bullet impacts, hit mat concrete, breakable. Hit mat concrete breakable. Whoopsies. So there we go. Control C. And yes, let's save. XML, material effects. So, when a bullet hits our matte concrete breakable material, we're going to be using what effect? Bullet impacts, which is the XML file, and then the material, then the effect name. In this case, hit matte concrete breakable. Pretty simple, huh? So when one object hits another object, you define what happens. The first part here is the XML file. Second part here is the effect name. Okay? Pretty simple. Now that we've set up effects to play, because if you don't, you'll get a no, when you try to shoot it, you'll get no mat material. Okay? So there we go. Now we set up what happens when one thing collides with another, what effect is going to be played. In this case, bullet impacts.xml, then the effect name that we just made. Yes, let's go ahead and save it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we've gone ahead and made the surface type, which is destructible. We've gone ahead and made the edited the material effects of XML to say what happens when something collides with your material, what effect is going to be played. Now all we got to do is register our cut shape in the physics.lua file. Last step. So go to the Cryengine root directory, game, scripts, scroll all the way down to, if you don't have all these here, it's fine, but physics.lua. I'm going to explain this in a minute, but what we're going to do here is copy the first one all the way to the end of the semicolon, Control C, and paste it at the end. And we're just going to make sure that it's at the beginning. So physics.register explosion shape. Now these obviously tell you what parameters go which. So the first parameter is the Boolean shape CFG name. First parameter here. Boolean shape CFG name. Each parameter is separated by a semicolon. So we need the name of our cut shape. Obviously we're not going to be using the tree broken shape. So let's go to our game, my files, objects, destructibles, Boolean, and we're going to be taking from the my files, which is after the game, by the way. After the game. So if you name something different, it's going to be after the game. Copy. Everything's relative to the game folder in this case here. And go ahead and paste it. And these are backslashes, so let's go ahead and convert them to forward slashes, just like the rest of them. And we got the folder. Now let's actually get the name. So tutorial boolean wall cut shape.cgf. So Control. There. So now with the first parameter, Boolean shape CFG name, we have my files, objects, destructibles, Boolean, Torial, Boolean, wall, cut shape.cgf. Second parameter is the characteristic size of the shape. Ideally, it should roughly represent the linear dimensions, blah, 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 blah. Remember we used for whole size in the surface types.xml, right here, surface types.xml, we used a whole size of 1.4. So go ahead and make this 1.4. 1.4. No scaling is done. So if my shape is a certain size, my cut shape is a certain size, right? And I say, hey, I want the shape to, when I hit it, to be a lot bigger. I want to make a bigger hole. So this number just scales it. So if I had 10, it would really take the size of your cut shape object and make it 10 times bigger. So we'll just do 1.4. Make sure these things sync up. Okay, 1.4, 1.4. This is the scaling and how much scaling is applied in terms of size to your cut shape when hit. Third parameter is the breakability index. Remember, we set this to 100, the breakability index, the breakability ID index, 100. So we need to make it 100. Fourth parameter is the shape's relative probability. Just keep that at 1. Okay, if the lower the number, the more times it will be spawned. In this case, this tree has 3 different cut shapes. Okay, 3 different cut shapes means it'll choose it randomly. So you can have like 10 different cut shapes that all have different shapes. So when you shoot your object, the same shape doesn't get made every single time. It'll randomly choose between the different shapes. And the lower this parameter 4 is, meaning that one would be most, it's a biased, meaning this will be chosen more. So if you had one that has a 10 here, and you had one that was a 9, then the one that has a 9 will not likely be chose before the 10. So keep that at a 1. The fifth parameter is a splinter CFG. We don't have anything here, so make it an empty string, just like this. Open, closing quotation marks. That's for like particle effects that spin off when you hit it. 0, which is the sixth parameter. Splinter scale. This means how for the splinters, the CFG splinters, how big it's going to scale it. So if it was like 10 by 10 meters, which is really big, and you put 2 here, it would be 20 by 20 meters for the splinters. The last and final parameter is the particle effect's name. And this is the particle effect that plays when something actually breaks. Okay? So there we go. We've now registered our explosion shape. Now there's a few ways you can add Boolean destructibles, and I'll show you since we're all done. Oh, by the way, your father needed to borrow $200, so I gave him 200. All right. All right. Yeah, to help him out a little bit. All right. File, open. So, these are the different ways we can add Boolean destructibles. Are you ready? All right, here we go. So, one, you can add them as a brush by going to Brush, Objects, Default. Adding a default object there. Okay. Changing the object out into your actual Boolean one. My files, objects, destructibles, Boolean, the wall. As you can see, the material is auto-loaded. auto load. And just take the lighting a little bit and turn this to like 15. Okay, there we go. We added this as a brush. I'm just going to reload my scripts. AI, save it. Chris, go check on Jeffrey, please. And jump right in. And let's go ahead and shoot. Ready? Turn the sound way down. Huh. Hello. Very, very interesting. Take the material, change it out, save it, and change it back to a concrete breakable. Let's cut shape, change the material, save it, change it back. Huh. Very, very weird. Try adding it as an entity, physics, breakable object. Changing out the object with our Boolean wall. Okay. And changing the breakability type to 100 because that was what our breakability index was. Tools, reload scripts, AI, generate all AI. What the hell is happening? Generate surface texture. I will tell you, this is very strange. Not looking good. And I just did this before the tutorial. Motherfucker. Alright, add a vegetation object or actual wall. Make sure we align to terrain. And yes, we want to cast shadows and receive shadows. Whoops. And after that, we want to paint and place one. Open up 3D Studio Max. Close Cryengine. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Games, Objects, whoops, Game, My Files, Objects, Destructibles, Boolean. I'm going to delete the cut, whoops. I'm going to delete the cut shape material and the wall material. I'm going to delete both materials. I'm going to open up my thing here. And I'm going to right click, Object Properties, User Defined, not a prim, yep. Object Properties, not a prim, yep. And what I'm going to do is open up the materials, assign the right material here, open up this material, assign the right material. Go into the cut shape, yep, physicalize default. Go into the wall, physicalize default. Okay, so now I'm going to recreate the materials. I'm going to add both, I'm going to save it. Oops. File, save. I'm going to add both the objects, export file per node. I'm going to re-export the objects. I'm going to my tutorial wall. Material, make sure it's selected. I'm going to create material. Yep. Make sure it's selected. Go ahead and create material. And games, my files, objects, destructibles, boolean, .mtl. There we go. I'm not going to modify anything. I'm going to save. Then I'm going to the second one here, the cut shape, copy the material, make sure it's selected. I'm going to create the material. .mtl, do that as well. And I'm not going to do anything to it, I'm just going to save. After that, I'm going to exit, I'm going to save, and then I'm going to reopen. And editor. Who took my soda? File, open, tutorial boolean, tutorialboolean.cry. Brush objects default. Change out the model. Tutorial boolean wall. That's fine. It is auto-loaded. But go to material, select it. On the wall, let's go ahead and add a diffuse texture. Games, textures, concrete, used concrete. For the bump map, use concrete DDN. And we're going to save. On that, for the surface type, we're going to concrete breakable. We're going to save. And bring this down to, let's say, 128. Save. Save. For the cut shape, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use concrete. Oops. For the bump map, we're going to use concrete DDN. For that, we're going to go concrete breakable. We're going to save, and make it 128, 128. Just sync up. All right, well saved. Tools, reload scripts, AI, generate all AI, save, export to engine. Now let's see. You've got to be kidding me. It has failed to work. Entities. It worked, but it crashed on me. And I believe the reason why it went wrong is because the materials weren't being auto-loaded. File open. Bum 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 ba la la la. Brush objects default. And Boolean tutorial wall. Jump right in. And everything works properly. The materials weren't being auto-loaded. The reason why, and don't do this guys, if I had to re-export the material, and the issue was I assigned the two things. I assigned the concrete breakable when it material in the material editor when it wasn't fully completed, and so I had to re-export my materials. What happened was I closed Cryengine, deleted materials, and then exported new materials, opened up Cryengine. What I really should have done is delete materials, open Cryengine so everything's reset, then close Cryengine, then re-export materials. So everything is exactly the same, it's just something I did wrong. But okay. Pretty cool. Now you can make it really, really, really low frame rate, because if you break all the way through, and sometimes when it breaks, see at the bottom of the console, it's saying invalid bounding box, invalid bounding box, blah, 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 blah. I think there's two ways to get rid of that. One, you can add it as a vegetation object, or two, you can add it as a physics breakable object. You still may get the issue with the breakable objects. Make sure it's 100, so set it at 100. And for physics simulation, right, no rigid body, resting model. Okay, change the model out. And go ahead, bring this down. Oops. Bring it down. Jump right in. And it went all the way through. And another error. Sucks if you ask me about having errors all the time. But there you go. That's how you do Boolean destructibles. The things I forgot last time were the not a prim inside of the user-defined properties of both the cut shape and the object, and talking about what was it? Talking about shit. Yeah, I forgot anyways. File, open. Vegetation, add our wall, go to here. You don't have to click the align to terrain and use terrain color, but I do. And yes, cast shadow and receive shadow. There we go, there we go, there we go. Adding it as a vegetation object really is the way to go in terms of performance and stuff like that. It really is in performance and errors. It still causes errors, but vegetation objects really do a good job with cut shapes. Look how messed up that got. And there we go. But that's how you do it, guys. You can add a vegetation object as a breakable object with the actual index, a breakability index typed in, or as a brush. And you can add a geometry entity if you want. Alright then, thank you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.